This is the Platinum Podcast.
So that being said, welcome to the Platinum Podcast, man.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. You're just let me get it straight. So you're in Mexico right now, right?
Exactly. I'm in Tulum right now since like 7 months already, or 8 months, and it's pretty cool out here.
Yeah, it's like I'm in Bali right now, and it seems to me there's two places in the world right now where you want to be with everything that's going on. It seems to be Tulum or Bali.
Yes. I believe that these are really the two vortex of the world right now. Also, there is Costa Rica. I think there's a lot of things going on in Costa Rica. I have many friends there. It seems to be very easy and free. Also, Dubai seems to be very cool at the moment. It's just not my cup of tea. I like places like Bali and Tulum much better, where you have this synergy of amazing architecture, nature, great people, a lot of culture, which is very important. Good, nice religion, like culture based on religion is very beautiful here, and also in Bali. I've been there, so I know how it looks like.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I think I think the synergy the reason why I say Bali and Mexico, there's like that conscious community. There's that real kind of trying to make an impact kind of vibe going on, which I'm a massive part of, as you are. So that really resonates with me. When you talk about Dubai, I feel the same way. It's like I can go there for a week, have some superficial fun, but then it's a bit of a soulless place. Like after you've eaten everything, you've driven around in some nice cars and stuff, then you're just a bit like,
of course,
I feel dead inside. Like, what is going on in this place? Like,
yeah, I mean, I've never been to Dubai, but only what I see already is for me like, okay, this is not a place I could live, as you say. Like, I'm going to Miami for the conference in a month, for the Bitcoin conference. And I have the same feeling about Miami that I have about Dubai. It's like artificial place. You go to fancy restaurants, meet nice people, dance a bit, but it's just not what I imagine. I walk around every day barefoot here in Tulum. I almost never wear shoes. Even if I'm going to the city center, I'm going to
sorry,
perfect.
bro, I'm with you.
Yeah, they look like you walk barefoot all day. So like going to city again, having to wear shoes or mask or anything, like for me, it's not the real life. So I totally get you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've been. My friends are always taking the piss. They're like, "Joe, you ever gonna wear some shoes?" I'm like, just don't really feel the need for it, to be honest. So I don't think it's not necessary. I like being connected with the earth. It's a nice way to live.
Yes.
So you said you were going to the crypto conference in Miami. Tell me a little bit about that. What's going on?
So there's a big crypto conference on the 4th and 5th of June in Miami. There's going to be like really big names like Michael Saylor and Jack Dorsey and so on. I think Jack Dorsey, talking. So it's going to be something big. It's of course a connecting and networking conference where you can meet lots of like CEOs and get a direct contact with companies, with coin creators, and get some insights of the whole market. And as I've become somehow an influencer, I want to go to the source and really talk to the people in the space and find out what's happening really in the space, and get also some of those knowledge outside for my followers, for the people who are sitting somewhere in the lockdown and hoping that crypto can save their life. So I'm traveling for them and to show them like from real life what is happening in crypto right now. And I'm excited to go because I've never been to one of those conferences. And I believe that it's super exciting, maybe superficial, I don't know, but I will tell you more about it once I'm there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. What does cryptocurrency mean to you? So I want to frame that because there's a few different parts to that question. I kind of want to say, what does it mean to you financially, politically, and philosophically? There's kind of a three-part question there.
Yeah. So what was the first one? Politically? No.
We'll go with politically first. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I generally believe that crypto stands for like a revolution. It's like the way to say goodbye to the financial system that has been like put upon us on the last hundreds of years. And politically, at the moment we are very like tied up in a corner, I would say, with all that mask thing happening and with the lockdowns and so on. So if from your computer or from your smartphone, because I use 90% smartphone for all my crypto movements, so that I can like deal with my own money and make my own decisions and outperform the markets of the whole world at the moment because I'm into crypto. That for me is a political statement. Like I can be free, I can travel, I can move my assets around the way I want to without asking permission to anybody. That for me is real freedom, and that for me is really the key about blockchain and what is happening right now. From a philosophical standpoint, it gives me hope. It gives me hope that we can find a solution to all of the things that we have been like enslaved to in the last hundreds of years, that we can create a better future from the people, so peer-to-peer, without having to ask anybody if that's okay what we are doing. So the whole DeFi space and the whole NFT world is giving also artists the possibility to reposition themselves in a digital world and creating abundance for them for what they do. That for me, it's a very important point, that we can create a new world that serves us and that we are not enslaved of it. And we can work from wherever we want to. For me, it's like digital nomad 2.0. Because like I had a company in Ibiza doing events and so on. It was beautiful. I had the best time of my life in my 20s. But I came to a point where I said, I don't want to work physically anymore, where like in one physical place. And I was not a web designer, or I was not, I don't know, somebody who works on the computer a lot creating things. So I was like, how can I become a digital nomad? And somehow crypto made me to a digital nomad, because I can do my finance from wherever I am with my computer. So for me, it's like the evolution of being a digital nomad. And I always say digital gypsy, because you can, you connect also with other people in a group, and you create like tribes around the world. So that's a take for me for blockchain.
Yeah, I love that. It's a different kind of community as well. I think a lot of people, especially now, they get into crypto because they say, oh, I'm going to make some money. It's great. But then when you really embed yourself in the space, you start to realize there's these really close-knit communities like situated often in Bali and Tulum right now, but all over the world. That really have some big visions about how this is going to change the world moving forward, right? And it's really powerful to be a part of.
Yes, for me, like, for example, being in the space right now is a little bit like, because I was not never really living in the United States. So for me, it feels like this is like a Silicon Valley in the sand. Like we are really like shaping the future of how internet and how our communication and how our payment systems and then how our creativity is going to be in the future for our children. We are shaping that right now. So we're like the early adopters, the early crazy hippies that have financial tools to do things differently. So I love that. That makes me really happy to be part of this and to be part of this kind of movement. And again, like Tulum is a similar place to Bali. Things are happening very fast here, and the people who are in the space are amazing people. Like in my meetups that I organize here in Tulum, called the Tulum Crypto Club, so we can talk about it if you want to. Like sure. The people come and say like, wow, the vibe is amazing. So it feels like it's a mix between the financial world and the holistic world put together. Suddenly the holistic people, they become more financial, and the financial people, they become more holistic. So in the middle, you have this like hybrid between, I want to meditate and I want to watch sunrise, but I also want to make lots of money and be independent from the banks. So, and this makes me really happy that this exists, because this is who I am. I'm not the yogi guy who, I don't know, fasts 30 days and says mantras. And I'm also not the finance guy who goes to Wall Street and wears a tie. I'm something in between. And this is the kind of like new human that we are creating here right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm very much the same. I've gone from that businessy world, the entrepreneurial world, and now I'm here, and my girlfriend's a tantra practitioner, and she's into plant medicine, and I'm very much kind of went from one extreme to the other, and now I'm very much in the middle. I'm very much in that space where I see the value in both sides of the world, and I believe that there's when you combine these two things, this is how you do get to that next stage of evolution. And I feel like crypto as an entity is something that's actually sat in the middle, and it seems to be something that's joining these two worlds in a really special way. So whenever I hear that people are doing what you're doing, i.e. getting these people together in the same room, there's power in those communities. Tell me a little bit about these meetups. What happens? What's it all about? And where can people find it?
I hope you guys are enjoying this episode of the Platinum Podcast, brought to you by Platinum University, the real-life school of mindset, online business, and financial independence. Platinum University teaches you everything conventional education didn't. We're helping thousands of people create multiple passive income streams that create more money, time, and freedom. We literally guide you through every step of the process with the help of our in-house experts and our powerful, like-minded community groups. To get 35% off your monthly subscription and permanently lock in the discounted price of $39.99, and also get access to all of our mindset, forex, dropshipping, stocks, crypto, network marketing, and Airbnb content, visit the link in the description to join.
So this meetup is started early January 2021, so this year. I met a guy on a crypto talk that some guy from an exchange gave here in Tulum, and I was just recently really starting to get more into crypto, like really like intensely. You know, when you start really getting to the rabbit hole and like researching everything and staying up till 4 a.m, watching some videos on YouTube from, I don't know, from YouTubers and trying to buy some shit coins, you know? So this was like my moment. And I met this guy, Ben, and we're like, hey, I had a good connection. I was like, why don't we like meet up tomorrow and we start talking about crypto? So we did that. And then we said like, okay, this was super cool. Like, let's do our homework. And in 3 days we meet again. And then 3 days later we met, and then he brought a friend. And then I'm like, okay, cool. And next time I bring a friend. And suddenly we're 4 and then 6. And then I said like, let's make a WhatsApp group so we can like update us on our next meetup. And then it was 6, 8, 10, 12, and he started growing. And then I was like, okay, I have to reserve the table, I think now, because it was always busy. And from there we start growing. And as I come from the promotion and event world, I know how it is when something grows, you want to put some magic and you have to guide the people, and everybody has his own little personality. I understood very fast, like, okay, this needs guidance, because otherwise this is going to grow and it's not going to be community. So I took this chapter in my hand and like, okay, I'm going to make this a little bit more professional. So I found a beautiful venue on the beach, really like right on the beach. It was kind of like a little bit hidden. And they were kind of friends of mine. And I told them like, hey, I have like around 10, 15, 20 people every week. Would you mind to host us? And they said, yeah, bring them over. So we met there, and then I saw that people were like waiting for something, you know? So I just started like talking, like, okay, let's share. And like today I talk about something and tomorrow you talk about something, like, because we are all experts in our own way. So yeah, and then people were like asking for, okay, next week. And suddenly, like last week, we had like around 100 people, you know, 100 people there. And it was like, wow, I stood on the stage, but I was standing there and like 200 eyes were looking at me. And like there were families with children, you know, from Germany. We had about like 40 countries or something like that. There were old people, like let's say like some 70 years old Mexicans. There were like people from Switzerland, finance people. There was the president of Liberland. You know what Liberland is?
No.
So Liberland is a small country. It's a sovereign country. They are fighting for their recognition on worldwide, that the UNO and other like countries recognize them as an official country. So they took a piece of an island that is in a river between Serbia and Bosnia, I think, or Croatia. Okay, it's like you know, like when a delta moves and like forms and there's an island in the middle. So they took like 15 years ago, they took this spot because nobody wanted it. And they said, okay, we put a flag here and this is a country. So the guy, he has been like working his ass off to make this work as a country. And he has passports. You can get then become a resident there. You can pay your tax there. You can put your company like an offshore company there, you know? Sorry, there's a bit noise. But it's a proper country, and they want to become like a normal country, like that you can have like have stamps and you can travel all around the world. And it's all based on blockchain and on crypto. So to become a citizen, you pay in Bitcoin, you know, for your tax and for your passport and everything. And they have some really popular people. Didi, for example, he's a citizen of Liberland. And so the president came and he gave a speech about what Liberland is about. And I was standing there, I was like, wow, like I have a president at my meetup, you know? And this felt really powerful and amazing. And people were really like, they were blown away. Imagine you're sitting there with other 100 people and then a president comes and talks about the country you never heard about. So this guy who was really knowledgeable, he says he goes to many like conferences with other like presidents. So it was not just like a random hippie trying to with an idea. So that moment, it felt really powerful and amazing. We felt like we were changing the world somehow in a very own way, because we are all come there for a certain reason, and it felt like really beautiful energy there. So yeah, that's what the meetups are about: meeting people, getting inspired, and find out new things in the blockchain space.
That's really interesting. I think, what does that look like, creating your own country? Because I was actually going to say, like, surely blockchain must play a huge role in this, because all of a sudden you're not relying on the US dollar. You don't need other countries to go, okay, yeah, you're a country, we accept that. As soon as you have your own money supply or your own means of paying people, the power becomes yours, right?
Yeah, I mean, these people, they're still like in very early stages. They're still looking for investors, because I guess it has a lot of cost to do all those things and being recognized. And, you know, I mean, there's countries who have been fighting for, let's say, recognition for hundreds of years. So they look like they're very positive about what they're doing and that they're really like concentrated. But still, you know, the control of, let's say, the bigger powers is still very big, you know, in terms of banks and of like contracts and to get your deals. So yeah, I mean, he's there like there for 15, 20 years. So I guess he has been through very like hard things also. But to see him standing there and like being really like enthusiastic about it, I mean, I wanted to send him directly some Bitcoins to become a citizen. And like, okay, where's my passport? He actually showed us the passport with stamps inside and so on. It was crazy, you know? And so that gave me the hope that we are in the front of a very big change in the world, not only negative, because many things seem very negative at the moment, in my opinion, but that there is always happening on the light side, many other things of like revolutions that are happening. So this for me was like a small point to see, okay, things are happening there that are going to surprise us in the future. And who knows, maybe we are going to become citizens, and it's going to be very amazing for us, because many people like me, maybe like you, that are looking for new places to live or want to be more nomadic, we're going to need those kind of countries that give us like kind of a passport and accept us as a e-resident, you know?
I already want it. Literally, I've been waiting. I'm sat here waiting to go. How the hell do I get a passport? Sign me up. I'll be there right now.
Yeah. Check it out. It's called Liberland. They have website. It's on Wikipedia. So it's really looks amazing. They have like a brochure with all the information. And I think to become a resident is like 0.1 Bitcoin or something like that. So it's not even that much, you know.
Sold. Sign me up. I want my passport. Letting me know now. I'm going to be a champion for Liberland. I can't wait.
Yeah. And also I like the name Liberland, you know, it's like liberty. So it catch me straight away.
We're always going to get hooked in by that freedom piece, mate. There's no choice of it. Yeah, I'd love to talk to you about NFTs, because this is a really interesting space, and I know that this is something you really care about. So it interests me, the whole bringing of the creative space into cryptocurrency. Now, the reason it interests me so much is because essentially when we remove the need for finance to earn money, when we don't have to exchange all of our time for money anymore, what we're left with is the relationships in our lives and our desire as human beings to be creative and to create. That's a big part of our evolution. It's what we do, right? When we're, it's a big thing that's often missed from our lives. Now, cryptocurrency to me is already solving this financial problem. It has the potential to create generational wealth for people. It has the potential to, it is decentralized. So they're not controlled. And now also you're now including the creative piece into it. And it's just covering so many parts of what it means to be a human being, in my opinion. And this NFT space is not something I'm particularly well versed on. And I'd love to hear more about NFTs from you.
So yeah, the NFT world, I think, is very interesting because it's just putting another layer on top of crypto. It goes much beyond than just artists or just like creating art and selling that on some marketplace, you know. I mean, the NFT world is so big, you can really stretch it to even tokenizing land. In the end is an NFT, you know. If you take a piece of land and then, for example, you say, okay, it's let's say 100 square meters, and you split it into 100 NFTs of 1 square meter, then you can have 100 shareholders of a land just by owning the NFT. You don't have to do like big contracts or go to lawyers or, I don't know, go to the accountant and make like lots of complicated transactions and like legal things. You can just say, okay, whoever holds that one NFT is a shareholder. So you make it super easy for people to become business partners, shareholders, you know, to sell and buy their assets with smart contracts, being paid with smart contracts. Because often you do a contract with somebody, especially when one person is in India and the other person is in Singapore or in the United States. I mean, the laws, they are so different, you know, like what is good here is difficult there. So with the NFT, with the smart contracts on the blockchain, you can solve this problem because nobody has to make a decision or can say, okay, the judge said that you're right and you're wrong, and then you have to respect the contract. No, through the smart contract, it gets respected automatically. There's no way to change the code anymore. And this makes it very interesting for so many layers that are beyond art. And if you want to talk about art, you know, I have many friends that are artists and they're struggling right now. They have been like, you know, painting, or they have been invited to on events to do whatever art they do, or I don't know, paint restaurants and so on. They are all been pretty much unemployed for the last 1.5 years. So all these people, they're like, okay, what should we do with our lives? So this is where NFT and the whole digital art space, you know, comes inside and can serve the people. Because if you believe how music started, you know, it was on a, like, let's say, vinyl, then it passed to a cassette, then it became a maxi CD, then it went into MP3 and so on and so on. So it did this evolution to digital form from a physical form. And art until now didn't have a digital form through what it can be recognized. I mean, you had flyers for, I don't know, for events or so on, but people just paid some web designers for it. But now for the first time, you can give like an asset and something like a belonging to somebody for a digital art piece or for a digital something. So you give an identity to a digital thing and ownership. And this is what really revolutionizes a lot in the market. Because my friends, artists, for example, they switched now from digital, from physical art into digital art. And they're saying, okay, I'm doing unique pieces digitally and I can sell them. And I'm still always going to be the creator, and I'm still going to receive royalties for the rest of my life for it. And my name is going to be digitally there, and it has value. So that's a really breakthrough point for artists and for people creating stuff. And for example, like, if I can give you another example, I was at the concert of the Rolling Stones in Havana, in Cuba. Okay, 2016 or 15, they gave the last concert of their Latin America tour. They did it in Cuba. It was the first concert of a rock band from the United States, I think, since like 60 years or 70 years. So it was like the most incredible thing that you can imagine. And it was for free. So imagine the Rolling Stones concert in Cuba, it was for free for everybody. And I went there, and I still have the entrance card, the ticket, you know, like it was for free, but they were giving out some kind of tickets, you know, like you had to pay $5 to be like in the VIP area. Imagine $5, Rolling Stones first row. And I still kept this paper because I believe that it has some value, you know. So what I do with it, instead of physically selling it, because I want to keep it for myself, because it's an amazing an amazing remembrance, or how you can say, amazing,
souvenir.
yeah, something I want to souvenir, exactly, this was the word. Like I can tokenize that, and that can be like a collectible for somebody who's sitting, I don't know, somewhere in the United States, and he wants to have this memory of that day, of that moment that the Rolling Stones created, and he wants to own this. So he can own this digitally, and it will always be there, and he can pass this value on to generations, because maybe if someday the Rolling Stones die, hopefully or not hopefully, let's say, I guess at some point they will have to go, it will have some more value probably. So if you can inherit that or sell it to somebody, it's an amazing thing, because people value that right now digitally much more than before,
Yeah, I get it. How does it feel? Because that's something that interests me. Like when I was a kid, it was Pokemon cards. I love those things. Like they're just physically having those shiny Pokemon cards was like a real happy time. I wonder, and this is what is curious to me, and I suppose this is the argument that I've heard a few times. Is it the same when it's digital? What is it about just the fact that it's unique, or that somebody else can't have it, that suddenly gives it that value, and still does it? And then my next part of my question would be, does it still feel the same having it in a digital format?
Yeah, I think it's the normal evolution, like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people would have vinyls, they would be so proud with their vinyls everywhere in the shelves and showing them and putting them out and cleaning them and all these things. I mean, now we're going into a life where people want to be having less, moving more, being more free, living more minimalistic. Who wants to have a shelf full of LPs, or like vinyls you have to take care of? You have to clean them. You have to make sure that they don't burn. You have to make sure nobody steals them from you. We all want to be more free. I'm going myself now to Ibiza, where I used to live, and to sell all my shit there. So sorry for the words, but to sell all my stuff
Where as much as you like, bro.
Because I want to be more free and have less things on my shoulders. So owning something digitally makes it so much easier. If we all agree that something digitally has the same value as something physical, then it has the value. Why should something physical that you can hold in your hand have more value than something digital that is through blockchain certified that it's unique? It's just in our minds. You can own one thing or you can own the other thing. In any way, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there were no screens or less screens. So people would only consider the physical thing. But now our children, they are born with iPads in their hands. So they will recognize maybe something digital much more than something physical. If I give my son an LP, he will think, Daddy, what the fuck is that? But if I give him maybe an iPad with an NFT on it, he will say, oh, that's cool. I like that, So we need to think that the time has changed. We're in the digitalized society. So we cannot think like before. Now we're in two worlds. So we need to accept two worlds as equal, digital and physical.
Yeah, I love that. What do you, in this space, what's standing out to you as some of the big NFT projects? Who are the big movers in this space right now?
I mean, for example, like Paris Hilton, she did a lot of crazy things. I mean, she entered very well. She did a very good marketing strategy, and she created something really good, and she made lots of sales. So she for sure is like the queen of NFT right now, even though I don't appreciate much what she does. I mean, I'm not very interested to it, but I like all these like small artists. Like there's one guy, he's called Ferocious. He's like 80 years old, a little bit chubby guy, and he has had a lot of success. I mean, he has sold for like hundreds and thousands his art, and he's like doing tutorials and showing how he's like doing the art on his iPad, and yeah, I really have respect for this like younger generation showing and leading the way. That's been very interesting. And of course, all these sports NFT things, like NBA Top Shot, they've been very, very successful. And I think what we have to look at is when all these like sports things are going to come along, like football, when the FIFA is going to start, and all the, the like American football. So that's going to be interesting. and all the musicians. I think that's going to be the next big thing, is the musicians starting to NFT their albums. You know, like Maroon 5, I think they realized they released an album as NFT. So imagine, like, as we were speaking before about vinyls from Michael Jackson or from the Beatles being like recognized because they're minted with a certain number from a certain year. They have a lot more value than newer versions. So when those kind of like musicians are going to start doing like special editions NFT, I think that's going to be a big thing in the future.
That's really interesting, actually. So it occurs to me that the reason why vinyls essentially have their value is because they stopped making them. So they created that scarcity by it no longer being created. So there's a limited amount of them, and this is kind of what you have, therefore there's value. Now we transitioned through a world that obviously went to CDs, like you said, then everything went digital. Now we've got like everything on iTunes. Now there is no scarcity. Now we're actually moving back into a space where we can recreate that scarcity and therefore attribute value to these things. So it's kind of like clawing back that collectability of things that we kind of lost temporarily with just where we're at in our timeline as human beings.
Exactly, that's the point. And to go back to what you said, still, I mean, we can, even on the physical pieces, we can still print on. I mean, vinyls are still being printed more than ever. Vinyl is back, it's big time. So Beatles albums or Michael Jackson albums, they get still minted every day. So the scarcity is not there really. What is more important is the year they were done, the edition, the special editions. You know, you can always play the game. This is more special than that. But what people collect is the early, like 70s or 80s prints. And as you said, there was a time maybe from when digital started, like the CDs and then MP3 most of all. Then it went to like a full, I would even compare it to how our plastic consumption has been. You know, like this, okay, just like print and do and make, and nobody cares about anything anymore. And now, as we have blockchain and we have understood, okay, we have gone too far. There was too much inflation in so many assets, in so many things. We need to go back and we need to plan a scarcity in order to keep things valuable, just like it was done with Bitcoin. Because you can see with other cryptocurrencies, you can make billions of tokens, like with Shiba Inu or whatever, but they have much less value if you compare to something like Bitcoin. It's 21 million. So digitally, you can create and encode a scarcity that keeps the value of things, which is really, really amazing.
Yeah, I love that. I'd love to pick you up on what you said at the beginning, because this was actually news to me when you were saying about the buying of land, essentially in the form of an NFT. Can you give me a little bit more context of what that space is looking like and the other utilities of NFTs?
So how I'm looking at it, I think there's many ways of seeing it. And again, we are still so early in the space. So the more creative you will be, the more things you can do. But how I see it is like, for example, now I'm in Tulum, okay? And I'm meeting a lot of crypto people, and a lot of people that come here, expats that they come to Tulum or they love Mexico, and they say like, hey, I want to create my future here. I want to live here. Europe is the Titanic, so let's leave it before it sinks. And they come here, and not all of them want to buy or can buy a full land. Or they say, yeah, why should, like myself, I say, like, why should I buy a small land if I can have a big land with other people, like a community, a modern, cool, hippie, loving crypto community? So what we do is, some people have, let's say, $10,000, some people have 100,000, and some have 1 million. You know, so my idea is like, let's buy a really big land, hectares of lands, okay? And then we tokenize. We say, because if for example, imagine we would be like 20 people or 30 people buying that land, how many contracts do we have to do? We have all to go and sign somewhere. I mean, it gets super complicated. So what is my idea to do is, we take that land, we make equal shares of that land, let's say in tokens. Let's say we have 10 hectares. We make every 1,000 square meters is one NFT, one token. You know, in the end, NFT tokenizes the same thing, and you make tokens, and then people can buy shares, like shares of the company of that land. So if you have 10,000, then you get $10,000, then you get, I don't know, 20 shares. If you have 100,000, you get 200 shares. So everybody can buy a piece of that land in the monetary possibility that he has, and then you are co-owner of that land. So if that land goes up in value in 5 years and is worth 5 times the value, your NFT that you own is valued 5 times more. So you can sell it, or you can trade it, you can do anything. So you invest in Tulum without having to have 100K. So you could invest your, let's say, small money into that and be part of a project without being a majority shareholder. So it's basically like being shareholder of a company in the end. Plus, what else can you do? You're a shareholder, but you don't want to live there. You say, yeah, I'm happy to put my money down, but I don't want to live there. I don't want to work on it. Okay, perfect. We take care of it, and you're a little shareholder. So whatever the land does, for example, we start building things and we start, I don't know, renting it out on Airbnb or whatever, or the cabins, then you will always be a shareholder of that. So if that land, with whatever it does, it generates income, you get automatically through the smart contract, you will get your payment every month, if you're there or if you're not there. Or you can even like rent out your small space that you have to other people and make money through it, you know? So it's like investing into coins, basically, into like crypto, but you invest into a land that is yours. You can live on it if you want to. You can sell your part, you can trade it, or you can donate it to somebody, you know? This is the amazing thing about tokenizing a land. You can be a co-owner of a piece of land without having to buy a lot of it. And this is the concept that I'm following, and I believe that it's revolutionizing because it creates so many possibilities for people to join forces and to create dreams together, you know?
Yeah, really, I see that. One thing I'm interested in, how does that interact with, so initially, so say for example, I was to buy land in Tulum, I assume at least in the first instance, I need to purchase that land off the government, or I need to buy it off whoever's running Tulum, right? And then
Yes.
how do I then tokenize all of that land? Because as from a legal perspective, would that land all then belong to me? The fact that I've then tokenized it and divvied it up to other people, is there anything that backs that up, or how would those two worlds interact?
That's the next thing, you know. I think we are very early in that. There's people who really dedicate, let's say, much of their time. I'm not so deep into it to tell you really what is there's legal issues for sure. Yep. But I guess that in the next year, we will see a lot of progress in that some people, they really are concentrating on finding solutions for that, because I'm speaking here every day with people, and people say like, wow, this is a great idea. How can I do it? How can I tokenize the land? How can I become co-owner? Or people who want to sell their land but tokenized, to still be majority shareholder in order people not to do some crazy things. So I cannot really give you an answer to how it legally works. I guess you will still have to do kind of a contract with people, but the payment method and the value and the outpayment, it can be really automized through smart contracts.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I wasn't asking you to give me a full legal breakdown. Don't worry. I was like, yeah, can you give me an in-depth of 42.7b of like the property purchasing agreement? No, I get it. It's very early days. I think it suffices to say that concept now becomes possible. And I'm sure there's a lot of people smarter than me that are going to be able to fix that and make it, like, I guess, legally recognized. That's a really, really interesting space. What other, I mean, you're poised perfectly right now. I mean, with the events that you're organizing, the people you're surrounded with, what really excites you about the crypto space right now? What's the real thing at the forefront of your mind on a daily basis?
You know, I feel like, you know, when I was a kid and internet started, I don't know when it started in the early 90s, I was 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, you know, I was born in 87. So I remember I was observing that as like a kind of like, wow, what is happening, and amazing, and all these new things, this new technology. And then I grew up and I was like, wow, I wished I was in my father's age, when the internet started, I would have invested into Microsoft and into, I don't know, Google very early, and into Amazon and all these things. But I still felt like, okay, it was too late now, which it isn't. But and what excites me about crypto, that we are still at the beginning of it. So exactly the fact that you didn't know about tokenizing land, I still don't have the complete answer about how it's going to be. That shows me that there's going to be so much possibility in the future for us to create wealth and abundance for us and for others. So it's like, the internet, and then you go through and it goes like into a new galaxy. Like where you thought there was a wall, you open, it's like, wow, galaxy, like trend A and B and spaceships. So I see that a new world opened, and we can, if we want to, and if we dedicate to it, we can create something amazing for us, for our children, for our friends, for our families, for the society in general. So that's what excites me most, that every day, if I research more, there's like more things I find out. And that's, it gives me a lot of hope that there's possibilities for us to make things differently in future. So that was really like excites me when I meet people and they tell me about new things and about projects. And then with Didi, I was just with Didi. I think you did an interview with him. No, I was just with him 2 hours ago. We're eating together. We're talking. He's now with a friend. They bought or buying a land in Mahawal. They're going to tokenize the hotel, so people can pay with Bitcoin in their own room and all these things. Like, I was like, wow, Didi, you're crazy. He said, yeah, I know. Yeah. He has always the most craziest idea, but it's so cool because you think like, wow, so many people can make a living out of that. And way before, when you asked me why I'm so excited about crypto general, is like, I see first time in my life how you can create abundance without real hard work, because I feel the generations before us, even my parents, there was always this thing like, you have to work hard to become wealthy. You have to like sweat. You have to, I don't know, carry stones in order to become wealthy and abundant. And I was thinking like this myself, maybe until 1 year ago. And then I realized like, okay, maybe I don't have to. Maybe I just have to make simple, smart, good, also maybe some crazy decisions sometimes. But myself, I created good wealth in the last months, even just by making good decisions in like investing into crypto. And I didn't have to lift any stone, sweat, travel to another country, work 20 hours. I'm working 20 hours, let's say, if I want to, because I believe in it, but not because I have to. I can just relax and, enjoy my crypto going up. Of course, it goes down like now, but I think we're in a bull market. So along the way, you'll always be, not always be, but have been always profitable if you've been to crypto. So connecting this world between working very hard and being abundant, you make it like, you make this fusion, like you can access this without having to work too much.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You get to focus your attention on the type of work that you really want to do, and that's doing something positive. It's not that meaningless, empty, soul destroying type of work, which is just repetitive for the sake of money. The work that you get to do is something that you actually enjoy right now, which is, by the sounds of it, building community and continuing to learn and educate others. I mean, that's work, but it's a type of work that energizes you rather than drains you, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, for example, these meetups that I organize, they take time of me, like during the week and on the same day. I'm so drowned when I come back from it, because many people want to talk, they want to know. So, but I know maybe I could make more money, let's say, so if I was doing because I'm also a crypto educator, so I could give like one-on-one teachings and make money there. But it's not important for me, because I choose to put my time there, and I think it's more necessary right now to educate people and to kind of help others to get on board as well and understand like the mass adoption and why it's so important. So, but thanks to crypto, I can do that, because I don't know, I invested into Cardano a few months ago, and it's been going up a lot lately, and I'm making my money there, let's say, or creating my wealth, so I don't have to go and hustle every day somewhere on the street or organize events for money like I did before. Now this event is completely free. I'm not making money. Nobody's paying entrance. But I'm happy to do it because crypto is doing the work for me in the back. And this was a concept that 2 years ago I would have never imagined in my mind, because I was an event organizer and I was like counting every person coming in and trying to charge them $10, you know. So
Yeah,
it changes everything.
I've got to ask you, before we wrap up, this isn't financial advice, but what would you say are 3 projects you're investing in right now that you think have got really good upside potential that you're really excited about?
So I'm really excited about Polkadot at the moment. The whole Polkadot environment, the whole ecosystem with Kusama, Sora, PolkaSwap, Polkastarter, Polka Pets. I mean, they're going big, you know. And these are, I think it's from Gary Wood. No, they are. They say it's Ethereum without failures. So they're going really big. They just launched the whole new ecosystem. And I have the feeling that it's going to be huge in the next couple of months. So it's going to be like this unicorn thing that people maybe underestimate, because many people are talking about Cardano and about Chainlink and about, I don't know, now everybody's talking about Dogecoin, you know. But this is a sleeping giant, you know. Polkadot, the whole ecosystem is a sleeping giant. What they're doing with PolkaSwap, you know, their swapping program, their exchange, it's huge. So this is something I'm really bullish on, and I have a big position there. Also I still think that like Bitcoin is still a very good investment, even though now it has been like smashed and slammed by Elon Musk and all this like Twitter thing. But I still believe it's the gold, and it's gonna like rise and shine, and then put in the shed a lot of shit coins that are in the space right now. So I wouldn't forget about that, about the king. And if I can say one more thing, what excites me a lot? Actually, nothing that I really say like I'm behind it and I'm crazy about it, because you know, like anything can change in a day. So if I have to give advice without being financial advice, is Polkadot ecosystem, everything that has to do with it. You can even find it on CoinGecko, I think, or CoinList. You can, like, as a search engine like NFT or charity and so on, you can go on and look everything with Polkadot.
Beautiful, man. I love that. I think that's a good epic point to end on. That's some good insights. Definitely not advice, but it's definitely some insights, which we really appreciate. Where can people find you, man? Where can people keep up to date with everything that you've got going on, with all these meetups and the different communities that you're building all over the world right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm mainly here based now in Tulum. So if anybody out there happens to be in Tulum, or friends of them happen to be in Tulum in the next year, please come to our meetups. We have also an Instagram page called Tulum Crypto Club. And or on Instagram, you can find me. I'm the Freedom Rebel. I always try to share some knowledge about crypto, about family life, because I'm a young father. You know, I'm 33 years old and I have a son, and it's been a crazy ride. I mean, everything I've done, nothing beats being a daddy. It's the craziest journey of my life. You know, it's the most beautiful, but also the most exhausting. You know, I tell you honestly. So I try to sensibilize people about that, and also, you know, show a little bit of that background. And I'm going to be in Ibiza soon, as I'm going to like sell everything that I have there, which is going to be an amazing, interesting journey. And I'm going to be sharing that also through social media. So yeah, I guess Instagram is the best way, or directly here in Tulum.
Beautiful. And we've actually got a bunch of guys from Platinum University. A bunch of our members are actually heading out to Tulum. So guys, when you're listening to this, make sure you hit this man up and go and get involved in that meetup. And I want to hear all about it, guys.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you. Can I ask you one more last thing?
Go for it.
Yeah. How is Bali right now? How's life? How's crypto there? How's the vibe?
It's beautiful, man. It's really beautiful. There's minimal restrictions. Life's just kind of going on as normal. The only things that have some restrictions are sometimes clubs and bars, but that doesn't really affect me because I'm not in them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, gyms are open, beaches are open. Everything's, it's beautiful. And in the crypto space, there's a lot of active people here as well. There's a real busy vibe. There's a lot of people involved in the crypto space out here. A lot of entrepreneurs that didn't even consider crypto before and now getting involved. It's like it's really building momentum out here, as it is all over the world, as more and more people start to really understand what it's about. So yeah, I think it's a really powerful place to be right now. It's very, very exciting in Bali, and it's absolutely beautiful. The people are amazing, the weather's great, and just day-to-day life is amazing. So yeah, I honestly don't believe there's a better place in the world right now, with the exception of maybe where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. So I believe right now in the world, in the next couple of months, for what is coming, what is ahead of us, maybe the difficulties that we're going to face, it's important to be where you have to be, where you want to be, like I felt before everything happened, let's say so, we were always thinking like of tomorrow, and when I finish that, and when I sell my company, and when I don't know, split up with my girlfriend or whatever, things that we put in the future, because we thought we had so much time for everything, I mean, besides the fact that we can die in a car accident in every moment, or I don't know, somebody can get sick around us, or we can get sick, and then life is limited. We're thinking that we had so much time for everything. Now we saw that the time can get taken away, possibilities to travel and everything so fast. So for me, it was a big shake up to say like, okay, now I'm going to live the life of my dreams. I'm not going to wait anymore for this one thing to happen, or to sell my company or whatever. Like, now is the moment. And I feel everything got accelerated in the last year, and we have to really be like very selective with what we do, with who we are, and how we spend our time, because this is really the greatest asset, and much greater than any Bitcoin in the world is your time. This is the most scarcest asset that you can imagine. So please use it in the right way.
That's a really powerful message, man. And I think it's one that's going to resonate with a lot of people. I know that I've enjoyed spending my last hour with you. I've had a good time. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, man. Really enjoyed it.
Same for me. Thank you for inviting me and having me among all these great people in your university. And I hope that I can one day invite you to my podcast.
It'll be my absolute pleasure, man. I'd love that. Thank you so much for coming on, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks, bro. Cool. That was epic. That was good. Really enjoyed that, man. We got there. We did it. We got there eventually. We sorted it.
Yeah. In the end, you just have to want it, and then it happens.
Yeah, exactly that, man. Yeah, I knew we'd get there eventually. I was like, it's just, we're in flow. It'll come. It'll come.
Yes. No, when you just wrote me like, hey, I'm online, I was like, oh, maybe I tell him tomorrow and so on. I was like, come on, man, fucking push yourself, just like put all the phone and do it. It's 1 hour. And what I realized when I talk to people that are interesting like you and are positive and we're in the same vibe, hey, like you could talk for 4 hours. It
can go on forever. Literally, it's always like that. It's like it's not hard. Like at first, sometimes I used to get this when I first started the podcast. It's like, fuck, what are we going to talk about for an hour? It's like, well, if it's somebody like a little bit more financial, like I don't mind those conversations, but like, I like someone that's kind of like you said in the middle, like has that kind of conscious vibe along with the financials as well. I like that. I feel like there's a lot of synergy there. And but yeah, when it's the other ones, it's a bit like, oh fuck, where am I going to go? But it always turns into something. There's always like a million different directions. I'm just generally curious as well. I want to know. As soon as you're actually genuinely curious, there's never going to be an ending. If you don't know that person, you're going to have questions to ask. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, and exactly, because you're curious. I'm also curious. Like I do also podcasts and I interview people sometimes, and I could like, because in the end you want to know, because you think like, wow, I have the chance to squeeze this person out, like a juice, and get their best. And this is great, because this is how you learn the most, when you have to, when this person tells you honestly what they're doing in their life and all their downs and their ups, these are the best teachers, better than books, because books, they have to fill pages, but some person talks to you, they give you like really like the diamonds. And this is the great thing about interviewing and talking to people directly. And then every time I enjoy with Didi, I don't know, how was your podcast with Didi? Right. How long did it go? 2 hours?
Great. It was. I try and keep it around an hour. We find that that's kind of like the attention span that most of our people have. But I mean, people like yourself, Didi, like I could talk for hours. Like it would be no issue. But we can always do round two. That's the beauty of it.
Exactly. yeah, maybe after when I come back from my travels, like I have so many things coming up. It's been since Tulum, since I arrived in Tulum, it's been like incredible. You cannot imagine how my life has changed since I came here. Like, because I was into event business for 10 years in Ibiza, and I arrived here because I wanted to get out of the fucking lockdowns and the whole masks, face type of stuff. And we arrived here because it seemed to be an open place, but I had no idea what I would do. And one day I met a friend. I was looking into lands, buying a land. The typical thing: you buy land and you build a house and then you sell it and all this bullshit. And I was like, I need to find something else. And my friend hooked me up with like crypto. Like, hey, there's something. I had already some crypto, but I never went into it. And then I realized, wow, this is crazy. And this is what I said before. I realized how abundance can come to you without that you have to do all these crazy things.
Yeah.
I earned more money in 6 months than I earned in 12 years in Ibiza.
Yeah.
I mean, can your mind conceptualize that? Like I still can't. I'm like, wow, how did you not open your mind before to that? Because I was thinking the old way, So, and of course now you can say, yeah, because it's the bull run and you're lucky. No, I believe in synchronicity. I had to be here. I made the choice because I had friends here also that didn't go into crypto, and I told them like, hey, let's go hard on it. It's the moment. And now they're all calling me, and they went all inside at 60,000, now, and they're all screwed now.
Yeah.
So, so you have to take the chance and believe in the things sometimes.
I believe it, or just stick your balls on the table and see what happens. Go for it.
Yes.
Surrender. You got it.
Surrender and believe that it will come to you without you having to go crazy and work your ass off, in something you don't want to do.
Yeah, man, for sure. I love that.
This is the Platinum Podcast.